to Lovin' Life's Journey. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get into today's video, I just need to tell all of you, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. This last week, I hit 50,000 subscribers, and I just wanted to take a minute and tell you how much I appreciate you, how much you are valued, and I don't take it for granted that you have chosen to subscribe to my channel and to watch my videos. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all. Today's DIY is a really cute and fun DIY Christmas project. It is a red truck Christmas countdown, and I'm really excited to share this one with you. So let's jump in and get started. For this project, I will be using one of these red truck signs from Dollar Tree and a long, narrow sign. You can use one from any holiday. It just needs to be one of the long, narrow ones. I'll be using two of these box-style signs. These are from Thanksgiving, but I've seen them for Halloween and Christmas as well at Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using some of these tumbling tower blocks and some of this wrapping paper that I picked up at Walmart for 98 cents. This is just some paper that comes with a tag and some string, and I really liked the print, so I picked this up, and they also had a buffalo check one as well. First, I'm going to take some ivory chalk paint and paint just the edges all the way around the sign. And I'm also going to remove that hanger and set that aside because I won't be using it. Next, I'm going to glue the two box signs together end to end, just using some Gorilla Hot Glue. And I'm sure that you could use regular hot glue for this. I like the Gorilla Hot Glue sticks because I think they hold things just a little bit more securely. Next, I'm going to take some of the tumbling tower blocks and I'm going to glue those along the bottom edge of those box signs. And this will take 13 blocks to go across the bottom. And I'm gluing the narrow edge of the block to the sign. And I'm making sure that they line up flush with the bottom of the sign because it's going to be sitting on that edge, and so I want it to sit nice and flat. Once I get to the end, that 13th block is going to be a little bit too long, so I'm going to mark where I need to cut it off and use my miter box and saw just to trim that down to the right size. Then I will sand off any rough spots and then glue it to the end. So once that row of blocks is dry and set, I'm going to take and add a second row of blocks. These I am going to put glue on the wider side and just along the bottom edge of that wider side and glue it to the front side of those blocks that I just glued on. This is going to create a little lip that's going to hold our truck on to the sign to keep it from sliding off. Next, I'm going to take two 12-inch dowels. These I picked up at Walmart. They are 3/16 inch in diameter, and I'm using them because they're a little bit smaller and they fit in here perfectly. And I'm going to glue these in right in that channel that I've created with the blocks, and I'm going to glue them up against those wooden signs, the box signs. These are going to act as a spacer so that my long beware sign will tilt backwards just a little bit. And again, I am just using my Gorilla Hot Glue to glue these in. And here is what it looks like from the side. You can kind of get an idea of the placement of everything. And once the glue is all set, then I'm going to give this a couple of coats of ivory chalk paint just to make it all look white. And I chose white for this because I kind of wanted it to look like snow. You can paint this any color that you want. So while my paint is drying, I am going to cover my Beware sign, and I decided to use some Mod Podge and just cover the side that says Beware with some brown craft paper. I kind of regret this decision. It didn't turn out very nicely. It's going to be the back of the sign, so it's okay, but really sanding it down and painting it would look nicer, or even just putting the paper on this a little bit differently would have worked better. But mine turned out really wrinkly, and so I recommend doing this a different way. But hey, that's why you watch these DIY videos. I can work out all of the kinks and tell you how to do things and how not to do things. So here I am just using a craft knife, and I am going to trim off the excess brown paper all the way around my sign. Next, I'm going to put the wrapping paper with the Christmas trees that I picked up at Walmart on the other side of my sign. And I liked this paper because it has kind of a farmhouse background, and the trees make it look kind of like a forest. So I thought that was perfect with the red truck that had the tree in it. And these come with a tag and some string. I'll save those, put those aside, and use those for gift wrapping. So making sure that my trees are going the right direction, I am cutting a piece of the wrapping paper just a little bit bigger than my sign. And the nice thing about this is there is a lot of wrapping paper left over, so I can use that for other projects, or I can use it to wrap some presents. And then, because I didn't like the way the Mod Podge wrinkled up my other paper, I decided to just use a plain old glue stick to put my wrapping paper on the front of this sign, and I really like the results a whole lot better. It went on a lot smoother and was very easy to use. And just like I did on the other side, I am going to use my Arteza craft knife set, and I'm going to cut off the excess wrapping paper. I will put the links in the description box below of all of my favorite crafting tools that I'm using, like this knife set and the miter box, and just some of the things that I use all the time in case you are interested and want to check those out. And I did go back and put a third coat of paint on my stand here just so that it would be covered well, and now it can be drying while I do my next step. So for my countdown, I need to put 25 numbers across the top of this sign, and I calculated it out, and I am going to start 1 inch from the left hand side and place a mark there, and then I'm going to mark every 7/8 of an inch, and that's basically where I need to put my numbers to get them to fit across this board. And I am just marking these lightly with a pencil, just enough so that I can see where the numbers go. To write my numbers, I think I want to use this Arteza acrylic paint marker, but the tip is a little bit thicker, and so I think I'm going to write the numbers on using just a black Sharpie at first, and then maybe go over the top of them with the paint marker if I think there's enough room. And I did hold my truck up here, and I figured out pretty much that I didn't want to have my numbers go below 1 inch down from the top so that you could see them through the window of the truck. However, you'll see in a little bit that when I wrote my numbers, I did get them a little bit too high, and so I had to do a little bit of a fix, and so I'll show you what I did here in a minute. So I'm holding my ruler at that 1 inch mark, and I should have brought my numbers down a little bit closer to the ruler. I kind of centered them between the ruler and the top of the sign, and that was a little bit too high. But I am just freehanding my numbers. If you're not comfortable doing this, you could use stencils, you could use stickers, you could use a Cricut or a Silhouette, just whatever tools that you have and feel comfortable with. So I'm pretty happy with how my numbers look, but they don't show up really well, which is why I want to go over them using that paint marker. And I did test it out on another paper to see kind of how thick it would be and if I thought that it would look nice or if it would be just a little too much. And I think it's going to be great, so I'm going to go ahead and trace over my numbers using the acrylic paint marker. So I decided I wanted my truck to look a little bit more farmhouse, and I didn't want to have the glitter gold on the front, and the little top piece on this truck was on there a little bit crooked, and it seemed a little bit loose, so I decided to pry it up. This is not something you have to do. I just wanted to kind of fix mine, and so this was an easy way to do it. And I am going to use some of that buffalo check wrapping paper that I got, and I am going to add that to my truck. So here is another place where I made a mistake. I should have sanded off the glittery words on the front of the truck because they ended up showing through after I glued this paper on. As you can see, I am just running my fingers over the top of the truck, and this will give me an indentation in the wrapping paper that will show me exactly where I need to cut. And this worked really well, and I trimmed it just a tad big so that I could trim off some if I needed to, but it worked really well to do it this way. And once I have it so it fits really well on the truck, then I just use that regular glue stick and glue that right on. And as I do this, you'll be able to see those words kind of showing through, and most of the wrinkles go out of the paper as the glue dries, but you can still see where those words are underneath the paper. So I highly recommend, if you're going to do this, to sand that glitter off of the truck. I do really like how the buffalo check paper looks on this though. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that top piece back onto the truck. Now I'm going to attach my sign to the base. I'm using hot glue and I'm putting it all along that dowel that's inside that groove, and that's what the bottom of the sign will be placed in. And you want to make sure that you still have a groove in between the sign and those tumbling tower blocks so that the little truck tires will fit in that groove, and that will hold it on. And right here is where I noticed that my numbers were a little bit too high and I needed to lift my truck up a little bit, so I ended up adding another set of dowels into my track, I just painted those white and then glued them in so that the truck is actually kind of sitting on those dowels now, and it worked all right, but just something to keep in mind. You definitely want to make sure that your numbers match up with the window on your truck. So now you can kind of see what it looks like. There's a dowel behind the bottom of that sign, and then there's one in front of it. But there is still enough of a groove that the little truck tires will run along inside of it. Now at the beginning and the end, the one tire is off of the sign, so the truck is a little crooked at first. If that's not a big deal to you, then that's great. I didn't really want to make the sign extra long, and so I decided to do it this way, and I do have a little fix if that bothers you. I made a little wooden piece that could just go on either end. You can just set it on the end, and it's just the tumbling tower blocks. I put 3 together and made just a little bit longer of a track, and that way that back tire will sit on that at the beginning, and then when the truck is in the middle, you can set that little piece on the back side of the sign and you don't see it, and then when the truck gets to the end, you can move it to the other side and put the front tire of the truck on that. So that was kind of my fix for that. Like I said, I didn't want to piece signs together, make it longer or anything. I thought it was a nice size, so this is just how I did it. I hope you enjoyed this project and liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. Let me know in the comments which of the trucks you like best, the Farmhouse Buffalo Check or just the plain truck, or maybe give me an idea of how you might embellish your own truck. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button because there will be lots more DIYs to come. Also, be sure to hit that bell and set your notifications so YouTube will notify you when I upload new videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.